So I am about 37 weeks pregnant, 37 weeks and 2 days to be exact. I don't know how many hours, but tonight I'm just sitting here and it's just all becoming really, really real to me that she could literally be here like any second. Like, she's full term, like my water could break like within the next hour and she would be totally fine. And it's just bringing up like a lot of emotions, and I've been having some of these like emotions for the last couple weeks now, but I mean, they're just so strong now. Like, I can just sense this change in my life, like this change in seasons, this change in chapters so strongly, and it's kind of scary, to be completely honest with you. Most of you guys who have been following me know that I became a mom at a really, really young age. I was 17 and a senior in high school when I got pregnant with Essence, and that was a big deal. Everyone knew about it, at my school, at other schools, online, at my old schools, like up in Alaska, like everyone knew about it, everyone was talking about it, and so I've always kind of been in the spotlight. Like, really, ever since that happened, I think people paid more attention to me because they were watching to see if I would become a stereotype or if I was going to actually do something with my life, and we haven't had the easiest journey. I mean, I've been on my own and a mom since I was 18, and my husband and I moved in together pretty much right out of high school when Essence was only about 6 months old, and we've really been fending for ourselves ever since. I mean, neither of us come from wealthy families, neither of us come from a place where, we have people that can really help us. And so sometimes I just sit here and even just think about, my adulthood and how much we've really gone through since we were 18. I'm 23 now, I'll be 24 in 2018. And it's just crazy, like, how many different chapters we've gone through, how much we've grown as people. And I have people that criticize me all the time, especially people that follow the public journey that I share online, and it's just nobody really knows me, and nobody really knows our story and like how intense it's really been. And I don't choose to share a lot of the stuff that we go through unless someone comes to me privately and they are going through something that I've previously gone through, and then I can kind of draw on that experience because I feel like it's appropriate to talk about it at that point. There's just a lot of aspects even of young motherhood that I don't talk about. There's a lot of aspects of being a white mom married to a black father, who has mixed kids, that I don't really talk about because it's painful, and just the things that have been done and said to us because of that in itself are just completely inappropriate. And I don't want to sit here and dwell on the past, and I know it's only going to get harder from here on out because I feel like when you have one kid and you have that child really young, and even if you do end up marrying the father of your child, people kind of look at it as, oh, you have a makeshift family. Like, that's not really your family. Like, you guys just kind of have to be together because you had this child super young, and like that's the reason you got married, and that must be the reason why you guys try to work it out. And so to go into this new chapter where I mean, this last time we weren't trying to conceive, but we had been trying to conceive in the past, when I had my 3 miscarriages between Essence and our daughter that we're going to be birthing soon. It's like this shift of like, this is a decision that we're making on purpose to be a family, you know what I mean? Like, this is us bringing a child into the world as husband and wife, and giving Essence a little sister, and just starting this whole new chapter. And I think it scares me a little bit because, no matter what has happened in my life, since being a mom, it's always been Essie and I. Like, She and I are so close. Our bond is so close. It's always been like that. We've always co-slept, co-bathed, like we do everything together. Like I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've let someone babysit her other than me going to work, you know, for like other purposes besides her dad, you know. Like I don't go out, don't party, I don't drink. I've actually next month in January of 2018 I will have been sober from alcohol for 2 years, which isn't a big deal to some people, but for me it's a really big deal because that was a decision that I made to, you know, kind of treat my body as a temple. And there's just a lot of decisions that I've made, you know, that I sit here and I think about. And, you know, the biggest one that obviously is looming right now is bringing another person into this world. It's going to be here forever, you know what I mean? Like, this is literally going to be me becoming a mother all over again, and it's a little bit overwhelming. I think because my journey with Essence has been so, I don't want to say stressful because she's amazing, but just like the circumstances that surrounded it, because I was so young, and because, you know, of all the moving around that we've done and all of the different obstacles that we've faced in such really a short amount of time, you know. I mean, 5 years to some people is really long, depending on, you know, what you're relating that time period to. And then, you know, for us parents, like if you have a child that's 5 or older, you know that like really it's not that long. It's like it just flies past, you know, like all of a sudden your child is 5 and you've, you know, had this person either in you or beside you for 6 years, and you're like, oh my gosh, like we're all the way to 5, you know, and then it's gonna be 10, and then like soon enough they're gonna be out of the house. It's just, it's such a weird, it's almost like when you're in labor and it's like you almost go into like this weird twilight zone where it's like, you know, later you ask like how long was I in labor, and they're like, oh, 26 hours, and you're like, did not feel like 26 hours. Like it just, you kind of go into this weird twilight zone, you know. So that's kind of how it is with parenting. You just kind of, I think, get into the groove of things, and that's why I always tell everyone to take a ton of pictures and a ton of videos, because you don't even realize like how fast things are going and how much your child is changing until you look back on these videos and you're like, oh my gosh, like everything's so different now, you know. But I think my greatest fear with bringing our second child into the world is that obviously I know that my connection with her is going to be different than it is with Essence, just because she's a completely different person, and that's not realistic to think that, you know, our bond is going to be exactly the same or our relationship is going to be exactly the same. But I guess I'm kind of afraid of not connecting with her as much because we're in a place now where I'm not in survival mode, and so I'm not at a place where I'm like grasping onto my child for dear life, you know, and pouring all of me into them, you know. Like my husband is my first priority because that's what I believe to be correct. I think that, you know, your marriage needs to come first. I think your kids watch that. I think having a strong marriage really is a huge part of parenting, and giving your children something strong and positive to look at and to build their own beliefs and their own foundation for their own relationship someday. So, you know, it's like I have that. I have my business that I'm focused on growing, you know, so that I can stay home with my children. I'm so unbelievably blessed to even have that opportunity. My 2-year anniversary with this company is coming up in February, and again, it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but this is the happiest I've ever been at a job, and it's just such a blessing to not even have to worry about putting my second child into daycare. And I feel like if I was working outside the home and I knew I was going to have to put my baby in daycare, I think this transition would be a lot harder on me, and I think I'd have a lot more intense emotions than I do right now. The thing that I'm just dealing with the most is recognizing that nothing's really changing. I mean, yes, we're adding a new person into our life, but you know, our house is gonna stay the same, my marriage is gonna stay the same. You know, it's not like, you know, this child is gonna come and then like my entire world's just gonna like completely shift, you know what I mean? While it will be a transition, I just have to stay grounded in the things that we've built and that we've accomplished, and you know, just really draw close to my husband and God, and make sure that, you know, Essence feels included and loved, and just kind of take it easy, not be too hard on myself as, you know, as we enter this new chapter. But those are kind of my thoughts. And you know, I was out with my husband and Essence the other day. We went out to lunch, and then we went shopping together, and something told me that it was the last time that we were going to be out together as a family of 3. I just had that feeling so strongly, and it was a really, you know, bittersweet moment, you know. And then today I went to church, and again I started getting that feeling that it was the last time that I was going to see some of those people while I was pregnant. I don't know when I'm going to give birth, but I started getting that feeling, and I packed my hospital bag today, so that's all ready to go. And I don't know, I just kind of wanted to record this for myself to look back on, you know, years from now, when I'm totally in love with my second child and can't even imagine what my life would have been like without her. And you know, when some of these things that I'm saying sound silly, but then also to just kind of share, you know, pieces of my journey with you, vulnerability wise, because I love sharing my life with you. I love you know, living alongside of you guys, even though most of you are halfway across the United States or even halfway across the world. But I guess that's all for now. I just kind of wanted to make a little bit of a vlog about this and have something to look back on in the future. And if you're watching this in the future, second child, even though we're keeping your name a secret for now, I love you and I'm proud of you, and probably can't imagine my life without you at this point. Alright, signing off.